After a long 34 weeks, the MLS playoffs are finally here. And this is Danny. Welcome to Soccer for the Common Folk. Let's talk about it. Right before we dive in, talking about the MLS playoffs, which teams made it, what teams, and pretty much my predictions of for the playoffs. Let's take a step back and let's talk about what my predictions were before the season started. I'll leave a link to the video in the description, and click on it, go to it, so you can see the full video in detail. But we're just gonna go over what pretty much the main predictions I had, which was who I thought was gonna win the MLS Cup championship, which obviously is gonna start, but my team, the one I picked, not here, didn't qualify, so you find out who it was. My MLS boot prediction, the Golden Boot, and yeah, all that stuff. But first, we're gonna talk about the Earthquakes. Because there's one thing I noticed is I do know my squad compared to the rest of the MLS. So here we go. Quakes, tough year, and the dead last in the Western Conference. Good thing is though, we didn't win the wooden spoon. That went to DC United. So congratulations, DC United. What the Quakes did win though was the Heritage Cup. If you do not know what the Heritage Cup is, that is what we decided to have against the Seattle Sounders, two clubs that were part of the NASL. You know, kept the name, still the same name and all that. So we have the Heritage Cup. The winner of the regular season series wins that cup. Is it a real cup? I'm gonna let y'all decide. But yes, it's a real cup. So yeah, finished dead last in the West with a record of 8 wins, 15 losses, 11 ties, which totaled up to 35 points. Tough season, but we're already looking forward to next season. We have some pieces already are set, like sorry, tongue tied. Ebobise, Espinosa, Cade Cowell, you know, just to name a few. And then we have a new coach coming in, Luigi Gonzalez. He'll be coming in right after the World Cup. He's one of the assistant coaches right now for the USA men's national team. So he'll be coming in after Qatar, whenever that is, and start getting the engine rolling for next season. Now, my Quakes predictions before the season started. I hit this out of the park. I'm going to pat myself in the back because there's one thing I know, it's the Earthquakes. All right. So I predicted at the beginning of the season who our leading goal scorer was, and it was going to be Ebobise, which I got right. He ended up with 17 goals, which was good for 8th in the league. Other prediction I had was the assist leader. I said Espinosa. Got that right too. He ended up with 14, and that was 4th best in the league. So like I said, I know my Earthquakes. My MLS predictions though, I bombed. If I was in elementary school, they would have held me back a grade. That's how much I bombed my MLS predictions. All right, here we go. MVP, obviously we don't know that yet, but I picked, my prediction was going to be Tati Castellanos from NYCFC. Obviously, if you watch the MLS, he's not going to win. He got not traded. He got loaned out mid-season after 17 games to La Liga side, Girona? Girona? I think that's how you pronounce it, Girona? Yeah, he's playing in La Liga, so obviously he's not going to win the MVP, so that's one negative point. Golden Boot. I said it was going to be Joseph Martinez. I was also wrong about that. He only ended up with 9 goals. Dealt with some injuries, obviously, but not a lot of playing time. Ended up with 9 goals, so I got that wrong. Hani Mukhtar ended up with the Golden Boot. He scored 23 goals for Nashville. Fool's a baller. MLS Cup, well, obviously, they're about to just start this week. So we'll find out who's going to win real soon. But my prediction was the Seattle Sounders. They didn't even qualify. They didn't even qualify. See, I'm bombing. Not one right. Not even close. Not even close. Supporter Shield, I also picked the Seattle Sounders. Yeah, I mean, they won the CONCACAF Champions League, so they at least won a trophy this season, but not the ones I predicted, and that kind of hurts. Who ended up winning the Supporter Shield? LAFC. So yeah, I had a bad year with my predictions, except my Quakes won. We'll find out how I do next season, or before next season starts. And hopefully at least I get one right when it comes to the MLS predictions, not just my club's predictions. Like I said, MLS playoffs begin this week. Behind me, you see the bracket. So let's get, jump right into right away. Let's go. Let's do it. Let's do it here. Okay, so the teams that qualified for the playoffs are, in the West, we have LAFC, Supporter Shield winner, number 1 overall seed. Then we have LA Galaxy. We got Nashville, FC Dallas, Minnesota United, Austin FC, Real Salt Lake. In the East, we have number 1 seed, Philadelphia Union. Then we have the New York Red Bulls, FC Cincinnati, NYCFC, Inter Miami, Club Football Montreal. I still hate that. Go back to the Montreal Impact. You should have never rebranded. And the logo before was better. Anyways. And lastly, Orlando City. Now, out of these 14 teams behind me, right here, only three have won the MLS Cup before. We have the Galaxy, we have Real Salt Lake, and last year's champions, NYCFC. So yeah, odds are we're gonna have a first time ever MLS Cup champion in this playoff field. So that makes it pretty interesting. And speaking of first times, actually we have 2 clubs that are in the playoffs that first time ever. Austin FC, FC Cincinnati. And good luck to them. We'll see how they go. Yeah, I mean, it's the MLS playoffs, so you know what it is, guys. Pure chaos, and we love it. We live for this. North American soccer, CONCACAF, everything. We live for the chaos. Okay. Let's start with the favorites, or what people who believe that these 2 clubs are the favorites. We're going to do one from each conference. Obviously, LAFC, Supporter Shield winners. They have Bale, who he's like more like a super sub, I guess. We have Vela. We have other players. Other side, we have the Philadelphia Union. They just missed out of the Supporter Shield. They had a bad little stretch at the end and let it slip away. That being said, though, we'll see. Normally in history, Supporter Shield winners have a tendency of not also winning the World Cup. That's a different subject. The MLS Cup playoffs. In the history of the MLS, which right now is 26 years, this is 27th, only 7 times a Supporter Shield winner ended up winning the MLS Cup. Out of those 7 times, 2 teams did it twice, so a total of 5 teams have won it. The 2 teams that have done it was the LA Galaxy and DC United. So yeah, the other 3, I believe, see, I wrote it down here. It was Kansas City Wizards, that's a throwback name, Columbus Crew, and then most recently Toronto FC, which I believe was in 2017. So yeah, can LAFC be the 6th team and join them? Be the 8th team, or the 8th time? Have it be the 8th time a Supporter Shield winner becomes the MLS Cup champion as well? We'll soon find out. Okay, now let's start with the predictions. Like I said, LAFC, Philadelphia Union, number 1 seeds in each of their respective conference, so they have the first round bye. Let's dive into the other ones that are battling out. So the first round in the West, we have Galaxy versus Nashville. Going Nashville. FC Dallas versus Minnesota. Don't get me wrong. I know people want to see El Tráfico in the playoffs, but sorry. Galaxy have been too inconsistent. Nashville, hungry. They got this. Next game, FC Dallas versus Minnesota United. We're going to rock with FC Dallas. Lastly, in the Western Conference, Austin FC, Real Salt Lake. I'm going to go with Austin FC. They got a wild crowd at Q2 Stadium, and they just push, attack, and I just like them. Eastern Conference, we got the Red Bulls against FC Cincinnati. We're going FC Cincinnati. NYCFC for this Inter Miami. We're going to go NYCFC. And lastly, we have Club Football Montreal against Orlando City. We're going to go with Montreal. So that's it. That's the first round. Second round, we have, in my predictions, LAFC versus Nashville. We're going to go with LAFC. They have the home field advantage. They have way better talent. And, sorry, Nashville, that's where your run ends. FC Dallas versus Austin, two Texas teams going at it. We're going to go with Austin FC. And, yeah, that sets up LAFC versus Austin FC in the semifinals, or the Western Conference Finals. In the East, this matchup right here that I have predicted is a coin flip. I was going back and forth thinking who's going to go, but I have to go with the Philadelphia Union. Yeah, they had a bad small stretch towards the end of the season, but I feel like in the playoffs they're going to, hit the gas and not look back. Second matchup, NYCFC versus Montreal. This one, I was kind of going back and forth as well for the opposite reasons. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game, but we'll see. But I ended up picking Montreal. They're going to grind it out and make it to the conference finals. Okay, conference finals here. Here we go. Let's do it the East first. Philly versus Montreal. Philly's going to be too much for Montreal. They're going to coast to the MLS Cup final. Then we have LAFC versus Austin FC in the Western Conference final. This is also another coin flip. This game's going to probably be high-scoring game. Austin FC has beaten LAFC before, and beat them bad, actually, not too long, like a few weeks ago, too. But LAFC gets the revenge and make it to the MLS Cup final. That sound right there was just setting up my prediction for the MLS final. LAFC, Philadelphia Union. I don't want to hear it. Me predicting the two number one seeds to meet in the final. It's going to happen. These two teams are just way too good. It's going to be in LA. I know the environment going to be crazy. You would think LA is going to win because of the supporter shield. You'd think they have the better roster, but no, Philadelphia gets the revenge for letting the supporter shield slip away out of their fingers. And they're going to beat LA in Los Angeles and celebrate on their field. LAFC gets another heartbreak. But yeah, that's how it ends. So there you have it. Talked about my predictions, my review, how I aced the Quakes test, bombed the MLS test, and playoffs start this week. Just sit back, enjoy the ride, and if our teams are not in the playoffs, we'll wait till next season. Catch y'all later.